guys, welcome back to the Holy Hotties. It's Birdie. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be sharing my testimony. And if you don't know what a testimony is, basically it's how you came into the faith and religion. If you grew up in the church, if you found the religion sometime throughout your life, I call it a Jesus story because I'm a Christian, of course, but that's basically what a testimony is. So I was born on October 20th, 2005. I was baptized about a month after I was born. I've always grown up in the church. My parents are Christian, my family's Christian, so I've always known the church. I moved to Alabama in 2011, I think, summer before my first grade year, and I went to a Lutheran church for about a year and a half and then moved over to a Methodist church in second-ish grade. And so I started being very involved in that church. I became an acolyte. I was in a choir. I did the bells for the choir. I sang. I did VBS. I worked VBS at the end of before I moved, and I did a bunch of stuff, worked Wonderful Wednesdays. I was in youth for like the last year that I lived there. So I was very involved. And then we moved up to where we were. We moved to Columbus, Phoenix City area, and I had to move schools, of course. So I got to the school. I stayed there for 4 months maybe, and then I had to transfer to a private school for reasons that my family and I discussed. So I had already just moved up here, moved to new school, and then I had to transfer mid-year. So the private school, of course, was a Christian school, and so I did have like morning worship, Bible time, we had chapel, so I wasn't really losing my faith, but I did start to stray away from praying and doing devotions and just being really involved with Jesus. I really didn't take the time that I used to sit down and pray or know that Jesus was there. I just kind of forgot about it, which is ironic because I did go to a Christian school, but I just wasn't in the best spot mentally. I wasn't doing very well. I wasn't very happy. It was a very hard year for me. So I don't consider what last year was. I don't consider myself being a very good Christian because I wasn't really. But this year I had to move to a new school again, and I wasn't really involved in the church still. We didn't go to church. I didn't do anything. My family was more Christian than I was at the time, but we all just didn't go to church because we actually never found one after we moved. And so I start the school year, and before the school year starts, one of my friends, Olivia, who's in the group, her and I have known each other since we were in second grade. We actually moved up here about the same time, but she texted me and was like, hey, I have this friend, her name is Josie, who is also in the group, and she is going to the school you're going to. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Does she have her schedule yet? Could we compare schedules? So she actually gave me Josie's contact information, and we traded schedules. We did not have a single class together. It was kind of sad because it was like the only one person that I maybe could have been friends with for sure. It didn't really happen. I ended up getting my schedule changed for reasons, and I walk into first period one day, and there Josie is. And I'm just like, oh wait, this wasn't the class she was supposed to be in either. She ended up getting her schedule changed for completely different reasons than I did. So for some reason, we both got our schedule changed and ended up in the same first period, which is kind of a coincidence, but then I started thinking about it, and it's not really a coincidence. That's kind of fate. That's Jesus working. That's a Jesus miracle, and that's what we call it. Josie and I have talked about this multiple times, and we call it a Jesus miracle. And basically, her and I became friends. We actually sat next to each other. I sat in front of her for a pretty long time in class, and I became really close friends with her. And one time she invited me to go to youth. And a bunch of people have kind of told me, oh, you should go to youth. And actually, Olivia invited me to the church that Josie goes to last year one time, and I kind of turned it down because I just was not in the best spot. But I was like, okay, yeah, let's go to youth. Let's do that. So I went to youth with her one night, and it hit me, and it really hit hard. I had not been the best Christian over the past year, and I really needed to get back into that. I really felt Jesus' presence that night, and I loved it. I loved it. I met the amazing group of girls that are in this YouTube channel with me. I met so many amazing youth leaders. I met just other people. It was a great experience. So I started going more often, and then I went on a youth retreat, not really retreat, but lock-in kind of thing. We call it a fall retreat with them, and I really started to get back to where I was before I moved. And with that weekend, I had an old friend who did pass away that Friday, and I just found out, and that was the same day that we had to go to the retreat. So I was not in the best spot, but that whole weekend, it really helped a lot. So now I go to Epworth with the rest of these girls, and I have found Jesus, and I'm getting back to where I was. I do devotions now, I pray, I help out at the church sometimes. So I'm back to where I was as a Christian, and it feels really good. I know Jesus, and after a lot of stuff that happened in 7th grade for me, it's just a lot of stuff, and I found Jesus again, and it was great, and I feel really good about it. So that's my Jesus story. And I also wanted to say that a lot of people who share their testimonies have these crazy testimonies, like they were hooked on drugs for like 7 years, and then they were doing a bunch of bad things, they were alcoholic and all that, and then they found Jesus. And I can feel like that a lot of the times puts down the people who have grown up in the church and have always known Jesus and are always like that. But every testimony is equal. Those testimonies are great, and that's so inspirational to the people who aren't Christians, who need to know that you can go from such a bad time to such a good time. But it's also okay if you grew up in the church and you were just in the church for your entire life and you're really involved and you're a great Christian. Your testimony, no matter how elaborate it is or just how basic it is great, because we're all part of Jesus' kingdom and we're all equal in his eyes. No matter our gender, no matter our race, no matter what, we are all equal to him. So that was my testimony, and maybe you could share yours someday. And if you aren't a follower of Jesus, maybe this can be a little push for you to maybe look into it. And all of us who are in this YouTube channel would be glad to help you. I know it for a fact that we would. I would. I know the others would too. But I wanted to say, and we say it every week, Jesus loves you. And he really does. He really does love you, and he loves you for you. The bad and the good, the sins and the great things that you do. He loves you. So I hope you have a great day. I hope that this video was at least a little bit enjoyable and not just me talking the whole time. Sorry. Connor, would you like to say hi or bye?
Hi.
Okay. Have a great day. Jesus loves you. Peace.